Hello once more to my daily trade recap and review. Very much acting as a diary for myself, an accountability tool, just so I get it done, right? It's very easy to gloss over this part of our day as traders and just move on to the next day. And then, you're always caught up in the tide and never really getting a chance to catch your breath and, what worked, what didn't work, right? So that's really an important part to improving, right, is not just the consistency of making those trades, but improving in on those trades too. So missed last Friday. Had to do some stuff. Really didn't make any trades, and then just didn't have time for the video either. But again, I'm gonna try to do them every day. Try to hold myself to that, and that's why these videos are important, because it wouldn't just be one day I'd miss. I'd miss all of them. But let's try to get through it within a timely manner here. Daily theme continues to be oil through Middle Eastern tensions, right? They're closing the strait, and a bunch of the world's oil supplies coming out of Kuwait through that strait. So that could have oil prices remain elevated, right? And this is going to cause low float, small market cap, oil-based tickers to really just surge in volume because of this, right? So trying to keep an eye on those while simultaneously being aware that if at any point there's a peace deal or something announced, that it's just going to drop away and be non-existent, and there'll be a massive sell-off, right? So just be aware of all that. If you do play some oil names, starting with our morning watch list here, INDP, no news. It's off theme, pharmaceuticals. We're kind of looking for oil shippers here. Just relative volume was quite high, and it's got a small market cap. We'll pull it up here. INDP. Now, this was one of our morning trades that we made, but we'll go through those momentarily. You can see it popping up this morning, sell off, but it's got a nice trend here. I don't know what I'm doing up at this time in the morning. I definitely was up a little early today. But a nice trend. And then we see 5 a.m., getting that sell-off. And again here at 7. But it's at 5 a.m. that we like, right? We always are. My 5 is market 7 or Eastern 7. I should change this so I'm not mixing that for you, right? But we're always looking for that 7 a.m. Eastern or my 5 a.m., which is just that low, which is kind of crazy that just from that minute upwards, the rest is history, right? So this was kind of crazy. I do believe this pop is what we got. I think it's going to be down here. Well, we may as well talk about it now, right? Basically, the same drawing here. We've got that downtrend or uptrend, I guess, is really nice. And then we have that breakout point. So our entry is at the breakout, and our stop loss is below Vwap, right? Or the moving averages, if you will. Or to be extra precise, it's the swing low, right? Guaranteed that's what I was targeting at the time. Let me read. I usually write it down. We did 58 cents to 85 cents, high relative volume, small market cap, bearish order block. Am I reading the right one? Yeah, bearish order block breakout on the 1 day. Oh, okay, that's where this line comes from. Right, so let's check that out. Let's go to the 1 day. And then, yeah, we had this bearish order block right here, right? Now turning into like a breaker block. If we retrace into it, and then we can maybe expand upwards again. So we're entering at the break of this, right? On the 1 day chart, we get that level here. It translates for us here on the 1 minute, right across, right? So we see that breakout gets our attention, and then we have the actual breakout hit, right? Where are we here? Order block breakout on the chart, stop loss under the recent low, which is here, right? So that's really nice, and it expanded so aggressively that this was far above our 1-to-1, and more likely a 1.5 plus. I'd have to check my brokerage for my exact fills here, but that's not the important part, right? The important part is the setup, right? Why did we enter the trade? where was our stop loss, right? And then the rest is, semi-irrelevant because, my entries are not going to be the same as your entries, and my sells and fills, just they're going to be different. It moves quite quickly, and but if you can learn the setup, you can take it on your own, and then everything is just relevant at that point, right? So this was nice. That's our first trade, and then OP was another one. And we actually ended up trading this as well at market open, but it gapped up, right? This is an oil name or a shipper name, right? OP, no news, on theme, it's a shipper. Small market cap, high relative volume, and high cost to borrow as well. So, it really popped, but then sold off really aggressively into open. But what did we have? Our beloved reversal signal with our key level breakout, the 200 moving average, which is great. So we're just in it on anticipation. We see the sell side grab and green bar out, and that's where we take our entry. Well, I mean, that's where we want to take our entry. We're a little bit slow to it, obviously. We didn't get entry till 232. And then just stop loss below the reversal, or, at the bottom of this bar, if that's going to make you feel a little bit better, I guess. It certainly does for myself. Scale out 1-to-1, scale out 2-to-1, scale out 3-to-1. Did not make our 4-to-1 trade, but that's okay. That's why we kind of confirm those profits along the way up, rejecting Vwap. We also have now a buy-side liquidity that we're kind of confirming at this point. So that sells off, kind of recovers in the afternoon, but we'll see what it does tomorrow. The oil names and the low market cap oil names are just so volatile, right? Like you can get these explosive moves that are like 100+%. Quite rapidly, right? So that was our trade in the morning. Quite nice. Oh, that was a daily trade, actually. Back to our morning watch list. DHAI. No news, off theme. This was pharmaceuticals as well. And just really sold off all day. Is this the right ticker? DHAI. Yeah. I mean, it was running last night. And then this morning, totally just sold off all those gains. We liked it. I mean, 30-day average volume, 1.7. We're at 11. So, it's quite high. But off theme, right? It's kind of not. Pharmaceutical companies aren't really popping right now. So that's why it's important to keep that theme in mind. ECDA. This company had some news, secures $500 million to buy Bitcoin Treasury. This is a dilutive move, though, right? They have to, a lot of these companies sell shares or something to get the cash to buy the crypto, right? Small market cap, high relative volume, though, and boy, did it rip. Like, I didn't chase this. We weren't having any part of this, but because I open it up, I see the news. It's dilution news. I don't like it. It's not on theme. Crypto stuff's not really been running. But here's the news. Here it pulls back, reclaims VWAP, and that's where you want to enter, and then just stop below the swing low. If you were going to play this, you're probably entering somewhere here, and, here's your stop. Easy 1-to-1, and, it goes so hard. This thing went all the way up. You could have got a nice 6-to-1 trade there if you timed everything really nicely. If you were a gangster, you could have done better, but, we don't need optimal entries. We just need consistent setups. And then, is get your entry as good as you possibly can. Just like we don't need optimal exits, just, scale out as best you can along the way, right? It's very hard to be perfect along the way. But this sold off, and that's the reason I don't like news that has dilution involved. You're selling shares of the company, which is an increased float, more shares available now, which is brutal because, that's increasing the supply. Demand is remaining the same, and there you go. So that's not great. Moving on, PTLE. This was pretty brutal. No news, on theme. It is a shipper. High short percent, which I guess explains where it ended up during the day. And small market cap, right? But it's got some news. It starts popping up on scanners. You look at it. Wow, this is like moving from 30 cents all the way up to 36 cents. That's quite substantial. I wonder if it gets picked up for the day, right? We don't have to act right away, and we don't. We didn't trade it at all. But, you know, it's on the watch list. It's on theme, small market cap, high short percents. Maybe we squeezed some shorts today, right? But didn't pan out. So morning trades, we had INDP, which we already went through right here, right? This was really nice, but ultimately not great because how it sold off, right? You know, I like when something continues. I like to be out and have it continue, which you'll see a good example of that today. Man, I clowned myself, but you know, like I said, it's hard to be perfect on those entries and exits. IBO is the one. I'm scared to even show you guys this. You see those clowns? That's me today. So this was great. We were in on this super early. Merger news, small market cap, high relative volume. Our stop loss is under VWAP. Entry is as close to VWAP as you can get it, right? We see this really flowing. You know, fits our criteria. It's got some news that's holding VWAP, right? There's not even any dips underneath it. It's like strong. So this is where I wanted in on the trade. You know, this is where we got in on it. A little bit of a suboptimal fill, right? I want to get right in on VWAP, right? Because you see these entries here that are available, and you can just scalp it up. And that's exactly what we do, right? So our first sell is right away, scalping it up at a 1-to-1 risk reward. Second sell at 2-to-1, easy. Third sell, 3-to-1. Then we get like some consolidation and sell off. Then we do hit our 4-to-1, 5-to-1, right? So I'm all out. When you see the crown, I have no shares left. Selling 80%, 5%, 5%, 5%, last 5%, right? And that's as good as it gets for me typically. But it continued to run, so we get the clown emoji. You know, get those clown emojis out because you misplayed that. And, you know, we should have re-entered here. But when something's run so aggressively, sometimes I'm a little nervous to re-enter because it's already up so high and could definitely just sell off all day. But the news was substantial. The news was substantial. You know, VWAP continues to hold like it did here. Just aggressively sold. It didn't drop it at all, right? Just constant expansion off of that VWAP level. Midday, we get the cross of the 200 through VWAP, which is great. And then, you know, this afternoon, we're just retesting the 200 a couple times. Break through, try again, and then ultimately fading off into the afternoon. But look where we are again. You know, the holy level, VWAP. Let's see what happens on this tomorrow if we get some continuation. Maybe low volume consolidation into a day 3 inside bar. Yeah, potentially. It's got good news, really good volume. You know, average day is 15 million. We did 37 here today, which is great. So let's see, you know, if we can continue on that trend. As far as how I could have improved, you know, we could have been looking more at key levels to scale out, because this is a key level here, right? We had them both drawn, which is brutal. I'm sure I got those from the 1 day. I always do, or the 4 hour. So yeah, this bottom here, this sell side liquidity, boom, boom, boom. Over here, where's this one coming from? Maybe let's check out. Well, that's the consequent encroachment of the FVG at least. Let's check out the 4 hour. Maybe it makes more sense. Sometimes you forget why or where you drew them. That one is definitely this low. 100%. This high, this low. That's a key level, right? This one's a little different though. I don't know if I can solve this. Oh, maybe it's as simple as that. It's just this level here. Here and here. Right? Aside from that, nothing like substantial we could track to. Where are we now? $1.32. Yeah, I mean, a lot of trades here, right? So there's no gaps on the 1 day or anything to play that I see to be substantial. Maybe just like key levels. Yeah, this is like rejection and support, right? Or support, I guess, and rejection point. Or resistance. So I was just kind of mapping those out, and you don't always make it to those, though. You don't always make it to those, so you got to protect yourself. Could have done better. Could have done better. But you know, it's better than doing bad for ourselves. And then we actually did do bad for ourselves. CARM. This was on the bottom. They're not all winners, chat. They're not all winners. And this was pretty brutal too. I was not impressed here. So, news pop, great. We see it kind of holding VWAP. We get in when we shouldn't. We're chasing here because we just had such a nice trade earlier, right? And we get stopped. I always preach, make sure you've got the bar close below your stop loss, right? We didn't. So I disrespect my own rules, my principles, and then immediately get burned. So we could have been scaling out here. But eventually, it is better to still respect because look what happened. So, kind of sucks. Kind of sucks. You got prematurely slapped out here against my own principles. But would I have scaled out here? And then if not, we would have been out down here on this green bar, which is pretty brutal, right? That's far less than just our original stop loss. So, it's one of those things where, we should always respect that rule because things like this happen. These liquidity grabs happen, right? This bar down, expanding upwards is part of the game. But, what we should have done, get stopped out. And then when it reclaims VWAP, then you can re-enter the trade, right? That would have been the more appropriate thing rather than saying, oh no, I should have held through and then, magically known how to scale out. No, this trade broke down, get out, and then you want to replay this, go ahead. But again, you want a confirmed VWAP breakout with a bar opening and closing above, which we did not get. And, even if you didn't get stopped out, actually, technically we should have stopped out right here. We actually held on to that a little bit longer, right? Because this bar opened and closed above VWAP. When you zoom in, I was just maybe a little bit zoomed out. But is that how I had everything? Yeah. Maybe I was a little late on the stop there because we should have used VWAP as our stop and stopped out when the bar couldn't reclaim VWAP. That would have been the ideal stop looking back. So it's good that we respected it with the hard stop at our predetermined risk. We could have re-entered, wouldn't have been good. We should have waited for confirmation so we wouldn't have ended up re-entering. But protecting yourself is a big part of the game, right? It's not just, take profits and everything's fantastic. It's, you got to keep those profits too, and you do that by respecting those stop losses. So yeah, it had same news as IBO, which ran really nicely, that merger news. So we figured it would have similar flow because would you look at this? Would you look at this? But it didn't pan out, right? So a lot of in a merger, sometimes the financials are not disclosed, right? The agreement. So a lot of it is, kind of up to the volume. Anyways, moving on. VSEE. This is pretty interesting. We did try this twice today, getting stopped out on our second. No buenos here. But that first place, nice, right? Just taking it on that news pop, getting in, stop below VWAP. At the time, it was, a little bit lower here. Do our 1-to-1, 2-to-1, 3-to-1. We even get the 7.5 to 1. Oh, I remember. This happened so fast is why. I just couldn't scale out at the appropriate time. I was taking too many gains. Our 1-to-1, then we had a 3-to-1, then a 5-to-1, and a 7.5 to 1. So this was just absolutely crazy. And I thought we were going to curl up and make another run for it. So we get in, stop loss, below the 200 here. It just doesn't work out for us. Try to scale it back up to VWAP. Didn't go. IBO got the flow on open instead, right? So there's only so much volume to go around the market. Sometimes a bad habit of mine, I'll go back to the same fishing hole, right? I do really well on a play, and then I'm like, ooh, that play's going to do really well again, and then I get burned. So that's, something to review and, reflect on to try to maybe not do that as much. But, we're just playing with some of the profits. That's okay. So that was our morning. I always have a pretty productive morning, and then the day, and that's a little bit slower, right? So we already talked about our OP trade on top, right? We mentioned that right at open. You know, this reversed key level, one up to VWAP, ultimately rejected and bled down. That's unfortunate. Then we had a SPY trade on the bottom, which is crazy. We'll talk about the market here a little bit later, but oh man, so we have this pattern the last couple of days where it's like bullish in the morning and then just bleeds down all afternoon. Bullish in the morning, bleeds down all afternoon, right? Bullish in the morning, bleeds down all afternoon. Bullish in the morning, bleeds down all afternoon. Bullish in the morning, bleeds down all afternoon. I think I made my point. So I say, okay, bullish in the morning, bleeds down all afternoon. Great. Here's bullish in the morning. Then we have our buy side liquidity form. We get in on that as soon as we see it form. There's our entry, stop loss above it, and then we scalp down to VWAP. It was like 48 cents a contract, or 43 cents to 81 cents, which is really nice. So we did well on that. But they went to like $3.70 or something on this dip. Like, if I could have held on a little bit longer, ooh, I would have been happy. But what an aggressive reversal. Because here you would not be getting 100% gains like we did. Here you would be melted. Even here you'd be melted because of the theta decay. So, it's good to get out with those gains, even though you missed out on a lot. But who would have guessed this recovery? Wow, we're already back up to 600. And I'm planning, like in the last few videos, if you've been following, I'm like, okay, you know what? We've got the support here, but I'm pretty sure we're going to break it because, like, global tensions seem high. And then we can start to really target these other moving averages, right? I think my current chart's up top here. Yeah. So here's our first support. Our second, this is a couple days ago, so we're clearing it now with our moving averages. So I'll move them up. But and then here's our target add zone. Man, it didn't break the support. I really thought today was the day where we're, oh no, there's the attack and just the market was going to tumble. I thought it was going to happen. I was putting stop losses on all my orders, or positions, and they didn't. It sprung up off our very first support, which it did here as well, which is bullish as all hell. Like, that's really, really strong. Because we need a retracement. This is like, it's too much. It's way too strong. We need to come back. Retrace here to the 50. Retrace to the 200 even. Big time. And it's like we're not. So if we can, just clear this downtrend even, I think that'd be really aggressive as well. And, maybe we go to 640 from there or something. Who knows? Like, the market is insane. So we did a nice SPY put, but ultimately it was bullish on the day. Right? So our bias of bullish morning, bearish afternoon is invalidated here, because this was a very bullish afternoon on what appears to be the settling of Middle Eastern tensions. But, I don't really see it. So we'll see. I'm not an expert. Moving on, our daily watch list, right? Like, what was on the watch list that we didn't play? CDTX. This has positive top line results from its phase 2B. It's got a massive market cap, and I think that's kind of like maybe a new pattern I'm going to take with, like, I'm going to take the small cap, low market cap, high relative volume trades in the morning, but during the day, I feel like the larger market cap trades are somewhat more consistent or reliable, right? Call them old man trades, where they just a slow chuck up. Nothing crazy, not 100%, whatever, but, what is this? What did this do today? 15%? Let's say you get on it, and this consolidation here. 12%, 11% maybe? Not bad. Not great, Not bad. So I like that. I like that. Because it's got the news to support the run. And when you have that news, something of substance, you don't get rug pulled, right? Specifically with a larger company. Smaller companies, sometimes the news is too explosive. And even this, very explosive news. But sometimes the bleed off continues, right? But this is really nice that it holds. And you do get that support, I find, a lot of the times with the bigger market caps. INDP, we already talked about that. No news, off theme. Pharmaceuticals, just relative volume. Wanted to keep an eye on it throughout the day. Because it did have, like some movement here in the morning, but just not holding it. We don't like it, off theme, right? And then SPTN. This is going to acquire someone for like $30 a share. Massive market cap. Again, though, like good news, right? Because you see this massive gap up on it. Insane, from 17 to 26. And then throughout the day, nothing crazy. But again, let's say we get in the morning really nicely. 1%. That's terrible. That's probably not worth your time. But it was, we're looking at it. We're trying to maybe convert our afternoons to larger market caps, bigger floats. And then GEOS, similar news. I'm trying it. Let's check it out. And this is why we're reviewing. Say we get in on it on this reversal reclaim. 21%. Okay, I'm liking this a little bit more, right? And if you were in on it since open, that could be 35% potentially. 236 million. And maybe there's a sweet spot. Maybe we just want to play north of 100, still south of $1 billion, or south of 500 million, maybe even, right? No news on theme, oil, which is great. Then our daily trades we already went through, and then we can do our evening watch list. IBIO. What's going on here? Presents some obesity stuff on June 24th. So, the presentation news is probably not... Well, the presentation, I guess, is tomorrow. Today's the 23rd, so maybe that's more relevant. Sometimes it's like weeks in the future, and it's like, man, this isn't going to hold this level until, you kind of want that presentation result. So, could be a buy the rumor, which is the presentation tomorrow. Sell the news, right? If they got good results, sell into that positive volume that you'll see there. PSTV was the next one we... Uh-oh. Uh-oh, this sold off hard. So maybe we'll even just delete this. What was going on here? So they regained NASDAQ compliance, and they had a withdrawal statement. So they were going to sell shares to regain compliance, which I think they need to be at $1 or something, don't they? I don't know how they regained compliance when they did this. Anyways, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this pans out tomorrow. This is an aggressive, kill bar right through Vwap. Brutal. Right where it started. Ouch. But it's a penny stock. I don't like trading penny stocks. I don't like trading Chinese stocks. They can liquidate quickly. It's just a characteristic of them. No trades after hours here, just kind of chilling, watching things. Anything new on the scanner we can show you guys live in real time. No, it's dead. Hura, H-U-R-A. Is the last thing I see. Big boy. This is approving a merger. I guess I can just grab the link for you. Proposed merger. I don't really care for mergers, but this is a phase 3 company, which could be pretty good, right? So it's like they're phase 3 and they're kind of stepping up their business game. Let's add Hura to the watch list for tomorrow, right? Because lots of these plays will continue. This could be substantial. This could be pretty decent. We'll have to wait and see. So. That's what happened. As far as GameStop went, I think IV remains quite low. Still a lot of time to earnings though, right? So, it's if you're buying calls, they've got to be Januaries, they got to be Octobers. Even Octobers might be kind of sketchy through the theta decay. You could hold Octobers for a while and then roll them to Januaries. That's probably appropriate. If we don't get anything, in July, like it's June. Yeah, if you don't get anything in July, probably roll those Octobers into January, just so you can hold them into earnings in September without experiencing aggressive decay. And then strikes in the money, 20, under 24, 25 starts to definitely be out of the money. 25 to 30 out of the money. Don't go above that. Definitely try to just stay below 25 though. If you're better off to buy one expensive contract than 5 cheap contracts, right? It just is how it is. It makes it a little bit trickier to scale out, but that's kind of how that goes. I mean, this on the one, I don't know how this even looks. We're just kind of chilling here to see if we can get above this, right? We got this massive gap here that we're going to want to fill up. Get back up to that 28 mark and probably start selling a lot of our calls here, right? Like you can hold your shares for more, sure, start selling those in an after-hours spike, which we do get. Is this another one? Bro, 2 of them. Let's look at the 4-hour, though. Yeah, so maybe we get a double bottom, right? That's very much on the menu, is a double bottom. Our downtrend kind of has been validated the last couple days. We do have like this buy side liquidity, right? Reject. Well, like we can even move it back a bit. Reject. Lots of rejections here and then a breakdown, right? Our weekly gap up here, kind of testing that. We'll see, but I'm not below a double bottom. Whether it is the wick or the body of these bottoms, that'll be just, we'll see, but we probably get it. If not, I'm loading up now anyways. I'm not waiting for the double bottom. Just kind of scaling in, right? Scaling in here and there, as we always do, right? More on that in the Discord for updates as well. And then we already talked about SPY. That's really all I'm really doing. Added some black sky to the longer term portfolio today. As far as that goes, we just started this a little bit ago for a friend. Our GameStop's doing the worst because we didn't scale out. This is more of a long-term account than a day trade account, so you won't see me day trading on this. But just adding 420, nice. Long-term investments, right? So we take the profits from our day trades, we put them into the long-term investments, right? It's best of both worlds. And I'm just liking this black sky. Reversal, key level breakout with the 200, then holding it. That is great, right? We're a little late to the party. It'd be nice to get in on the support here. That would have been such gas. Even the reversal here is fine off that support. But it is what it is. It's satellite company, an intelligence company. Really good. We see the straits, the canal or whatever, being restricted. So this is good for that, right? For those logistics companies to kind of plan around geopolitics to make sure that they can still provide services is great. So, this could be a good company into the future. Kind of add it to the portfolio. Not a ton of it, just a taste. And I guess that's what's new there. So, we're always doing the day trades, keeping ourselves busy, honing in on our skills, right? We're always doing the longer term investing, and we're always swing trading GameStop. That's kind of, the brand here. So thanks for watching. That's today's daily review. How long did this take? 34 minutes. Wow. Okay, long time. Thanks for watching. Have a magical day, and I'll see you all soon in the next